Alright, welcome back to Star Control 2. We're going to do a couple things in this session, I think. First of all, we're going to do... Oh, alright, I have to be out of the system. We have to be... We're going to go save our ally with the Syreen, I should say. Jupiter. And to do that, we kind of have to get a little bit more information first. So, today I think is the session that we're going to actually talk to the Melnorme. So, I'm going to do that by calling them up. And, because we should have plenty of points with them.
I must warn you, Captain. This is the time of the month we Melnorme drive exceptionally hard at bargains. Beware. Now, what can we do for you today?
I don't know what that means. Do I have any items?
What would you?
Yeah.
The 144.
Okay, so that's more money for us.
Okay.
Let's buy some information.
As you know, in our many centuries of star trading, we Melnorme have come to learn much about what happens in our galaxy, both now and in the ancient past. We have also kept records on the diverse alien races in your region of space. We will share this crucial knowledge with you for a fee of 75 credits per informative fact. No refunds.
Well, a lot of this we're gonna get that is already, we already know. So, let's get some, well, let's buy some information about current events first.
While you probably believe that the Shofixti are extinct, having caused their sun to flare with a device identical to the Utwig super bomb, the truth is not so simple. There yet exists a chance to resuscitate this meta-marsupial species, though it will not be easy. The problem at hand seems simple. Bring together two Shofixti of different sexes, and the carnal gymnastics proceed. Given the short gestation and maturation time of the Shofixti, you will have thousands of the creatures in 10 years and millions in 20. Finding a male of the species is easier than fluff. Simply visit the Shofixti's blasted star system at Delta Gorno. Captain Tanaka, or its sibling, Katana, shall greet you on your arrival. A warning. These warriors are old and fly in barely functional ships. If they mistakenly identify you as the enemy, do not return fire. Retreat and try to talk with them on their own level. The females of the species will be more difficult to obtain. The only supply of such remaining in the galaxy is at Alpha Cherenkov 1, included as part of General Zex's bizarre and beloved menagerie. Fortunately for you, Captain, Zex is considered, well, perverse. Minus Featherbox. This is because Zex actually enjoys the presence of human beings. To acquire the Shofixti females, you will have to appease Zex. Or kill him.
See, a lot of the stuff like that is what we're going to get, you know, basically useless information that we already know about. We already knew all about that. But, yeah, basically I'm just gonna read all of it.
Dear Kwan, are presently at war with a race called the Korra. They are fighting within a large spherical region of space, centered around the crater star group. Although it is probably too early to tell, it would appear that the Korra are winning. No doubt you are familiar with an alien race called the Unga, who live in the Orion's constellation. While they are renowned for their potent and often cruel sense of humor, they have outdone themselves in recent years. Specifically, they have used an unusual hyperwave caster to impersonate the Ilrath gods, Dogar and Kazon. When the Ilrath began tuning in to the voices of their gods on their hyperwave receivers, the priest caste was understandably skeptical and counseled their many followers to ignore the blasphemous signals. However, in a surprise move, the majority of the Ilrath then rose up and slaughtered the entire priest caste. The reasons for this ghastly move included overtaxation, lack of quality depth in ceremony, and the general feeling that the priests had made Dogar and Kazon's pronouncements overly complex. As you know, there are weaknesses in the division between dimensions. For example, your vessel uses such weaknesses to enter hyperspace. However, there are other weak spots in the galaxy which lead to yet different dimensions. One such portal exists nearby, between the Chandrasekhar and Cullen Bay constellations. The portal opens only a short time each month, starting on the 17th. Since we have never entered the portal, we can give no more information on this subject.
Yeah, the reason I didn't do this earlier is because I wanted to kind of collect clues for stuff. But I'm doing it now because I don't really know of a way to figure out the next thing.
As you are probably aware, Earthline starships, you call them dreadnoughts, I believe, possess effective self-annihilation circuits, which prevent other races from reverse engineering Earthline technological secrets. However, we have become aware of a shipwrecked dreadnought, which has remained largely intact. You will find the remains of the ship on the surface of a blue world orbiting Alpha Pavonis. We suspect you will find at least one item of interest there, possibly two.
Huh.
You may have noticed the presence of an increasingly large number of red probe vessels, which move with great speed and attack relentlessly. We are sorry to say that this is our catalog item 2418B. Do not blame us. We are not responsible for this violent folly. The product is not being used in a correct manner. Should you wish to confront the actual wrongdoers, we suggest you search the planets in Beta Corby for the probe's owners.
Yeah. Well, that's basically the direct way of knowing it. We were also told that we could go into a direct line of between two planets, I don't remember, by, I think, Zoq-Fot. So, yeah.
Not more than 50 years ago, the Druge were informed by the now extinct Urvixi's race of a powerful alien nation called the Utwig. The Utwig, the Urvixi's explained, were pleasant, sophisticated creatures, but they were also terminally depressed and often spoke about ending their lives by activating a super weapon, some kind of gigantic bomb. which they had found on one of their worlds. Zeta Hyades 6b, I think it was. The Druge recognized the description of the bomb as a precursor planetary tool, which indeed was an explosive device of unrivaled power, and they set out to make it their own. Though the revolting, criminal, insidious Druge rarely leave their sphere of influence, it encompasses Algol, Almagest, and the Persei stars. They made a special trip on this occasion to the Aquarii constellation, where they made contact with the Utwig. There is a device commonly known as the Ultron. Is it now in your possession? Ah, I see. The Druge sold this device to the Utwig, explaining that it was a precursor personal magnifier, which would enrich the lives of their entire culture in too many ways to describe specifically. The Utwig, I am sorry to say, fell for the Druge's foul ruse and snapped up the Ultron immediately. Fortunately for us all, the Utwig did not pay the Druge's requested price, the super bomb, and instead gave him a collection of historical oddments and genuine artifacts, which to this day the Druge are trying to unload on unwary buyers.
Yeah, the game doesn't really update what these people are saying, because we don't actually have the Ultron, we have the super bomb, so...
The Utwig, who live in the Aquarii constellation, have grown very depressed of late. They accidentally broke the supposed Ultron sold to them by the felonious Druge. As a consequence, they are morose and melancholic, and will probably be unwilling to help you fight the Urquan. If you wish to gain them as allies, we recommend that you acquire the broken Ultron, as if it ever worked, and find some suitable replacement parts. Our information indicates that you could find these items in 3 different places. A rosy sphere at the Druge Trade World, an aqua helix somewhere in Fradash space, and a clear spindle, which is currently in the possession of the Mycon. Captain, that was the last current event we have for sale.
Basically, it tells us all about crap that we've done up to this point. They don't have anything helpful after this.
The Zoq-Fot-Pik are a friendly co-op of 3 alien species, all native to the same world. They are presently suffering severe collateral damage from the ritual combat between the Urquan and the Kolar. While this is unfortunate for the Zoq-Fot-Pik, they have been forced to abandon many of their worlds. This close proximity to the inter-Urquan war will give them insights into the conflict, which will be of great use to you. In addition, the Zoq-Fot-Pik met the Chenjesu early on in the war, and are eager to make allies who can protect them from their enemies. In case you are interested, the Zoq-Fot-Pik homeworld is at coordinates 400.0 by 543.7, Planet 1.
I don't know why that's really useful. One of the first things that happens is that you get the signal from the Zoq-Fot.
The Iroquois are presently attacking the Mycon in the Lakeli and Kruger constellations. These beings have slavish devotion to their dark gods Dogar and Kzer-Za, which in the past few years has been used against them by the Unya. If you need to manipulate the Iraq, we suggest you discover the Ultron's technique and duplicate it.
See how out of date some of this info is?
The Mycon are a mystical offshoot of the Yehot species, who left their bird brothers long ago to found a peaceful enclave in the Kruger and Kzer-Za stars. At the present time, the Mycon are defending themselves against the Iraq, who have been commanded to attack the happy birds by Zoq-Fot-Pik and Kzer-Za. The Mycon may be unwilling to make a formal alliance with you, but we have confidence that if you explain yourself honestly, they will help your efforts against the Urquan. The creatures presently fighting the Urquan are called the Korah. They are an Urquan subspecies who split off from the main species many thousands of years ago. Their present fight is a ritual reenacting of a major difference of opinion between two rival Urquan leaders after the Urquan overwhelmed their slave masters, the Dinyare. The Korah are immune to reason, having long ago lost the ability to see their situation objectively. They live in a self-maintained paradox. To ensure their safety and security, the Korah fight an endless battle against all other sentient species.
See, this is why I didn't do this earlier, because it basically spoils a lot of the plot of the game. And we managed to find out pretty much everything else up to this point without doing this. I'm basically just looking for a homeworld. It may actually be in historical information, but I'm going to basically listen to all of what they say so I don't have to do it anymore.
I must warn you about some very bad people. If this worth so many credits, you ask yourself, I assure you it is. The creatures are called the Druge, and they are a callous and evil race. They care for nothing but profit and personal gain through unfair mercantile exchanges. Why are you looking at me like that, Captain? It is not appropriate. As I was saying, these wicked creatures will try to sell you commodities at unreasonably low prices. Boy, they almost give away fuel. Do not fall for their tricks. There are hidden costs, secret tariffs. So that you may avoid them, I will tell you that their main trade world is Zeta Persei 1. Why are you smiling, Captain?
Well, I already know the Druze are bad people, so that's not helpful. They don't like the Druze because the Druze are basically merchants as well. They're not as useful, though. The Druze suck.
The Shofixti race evolved on the planet Arcturus 1. They lived there in a relatively benevolent manner until the Korah came and destroyed them during the course of 2 or 3 unfortunate days. The Druge were largely responsible for the Korah finding the Shofixti. You see, the Shofixti were in long-distance, hyperwave contact with a race known simply as the Geg. For decades, the Geg and the Shofixti traded much valuable information until the Geg came under attack by an invading race who you may know as the Korah. The Geg warned the Shofixti that the Korah located races by their hyperwave transmissions and that they had already discovered the radiations from the Druge. When the Shofixti were kind enough to warn the Druge that a hostile alien race was homing in on their hyperwave radiations, The Rouge shut down all their transmitters and erected a powerful hyperwave beacon on the surface of the Vertex C's moon. The Korra changed course, attacked the poor Vertex C's, and sadly destroyed them all.
You might think that's like propaganda after hearing the last one, but that's true, they did that. We actually found the thing.
The Thredash are an arrogant, stubborn, and thick-skinned species who reside in the Draconis and Acadus star systems. They have little or no respect for anything but force, which they admire greatly. To make the Thredash your friends, you should consider killing most, but not all of them. In addition, they guard some kind of sacred relic at the star system Zeta Draconis, though we do not know the true nature of this artifact. The Thredash homeworld is at Delta Draconis.
I don't understand that. They told us that they had the spindle, or not the spindle, but the helix already. So I don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what it is.
After the war, the Chenjesku and the Mern chose to be slave-shielded on Chenjesu's homeworld at Procyon. We suspect that they are melding their two species to form some kind of new hybrid race, a race which may well be powerful enough to destroy the Urquan single-handedly. However, by our calculations, this process will take many decades, if not centuries. Should you wish to talk to them, we recommend you invest in a hyperwave broadcasting system, which is powerful enough to penetrate the shield around their world.
Okay, that's pretty much the first piece of new information we've had. Basically tells us where they are. Not anything real important about it. Well, it's important that they are trying to form a new race, but we can't. It doesn't really tell us anything that we can do. But we do have the hyperwave caster we need.
The Mycon are using this time, while the Urquan have their attention elsewhere, to expand their sphere of influence as fast as possible. The Mycon colonize planets by launching top spore pods from orbit and injecting them under the planet's surface. Months later, after the spores have grown hundreds of thick, fibrous tendrils under the planet's crust, the tendrils suddenly thrust up out of the planet and create huge calderas. Not incidentally, filling the planet's atmosphere with the Mycon's preferred gases, clouds of superheated steam and sulfuric acid.
See, okay, well that's pretty important.
Following the end of the war, the Androsin began experimenting with interdimensional fatigue, a process which is related to your faster-than-light drive, but involves dimensions far more alien than hyperspace. They had just made a major breakthrough when they were suddenly wiped out by a race called the Ors, who appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Actually, we don't know what the Ors did to the Androsin. They're just all gone.
Yeah, we knew that.
The Arilou are a mysterious race of IDF beings. IDF meaning interdimensional fatigue. They do not reside in this galaxy, or in fact, anywhere in this universe. While it is true that the Arilou are rarely seen far from the Colombo star group, they do make regular, secret visits to your world, and have done so for centuries. Ever since Earth was stayed shielded, they have focused their attention on the humans aboard the starbase, many of whom are now members of your crew. Though the Arilou always smile and are never overtly hostile. We believe that they have a secret agenda which somehow involves your planet Earth. These secret plans may or may not cause grief and woe to you Earthlings.
Well, thank you for being very vague. We already know what that involves.
Just under 20 years ago, the brave and suicidal Shofixti annihilated their species by exploding a precursor device, some kind of bomb, in the interior of their sun. The resulting storm of solar flares cooked the life off the Shofixti homeworld and incinerated over 100 Urquan dreadnoughts which had just entered the system to conquer the Shofixti. In actuality, there are still at least a dozen Shofixti left alive in the galaxy. 1 or 2 are at Delta Gorno, guarding the dead hulk of their once beautiful world. Others can be found in Vox space.
Give redundant information. Now, when he talks about 1 or 2, Tanaka and Katana, if you accidentally kill Tanaka, Katana will show up. So you have two chances at that if you don't really figure out what you need to do there.
The Slilandro are a mostly non-solid, sentient race who live in a gas giant at Beta Corvi. We recently sold them a self-replicating exploration probe, which has somehow turned hostile and attacks everything it detects. If such encounters have angered you, Captain, please do not address your concerns to us. We possess a formal waiver of damages authorized by a Slilandro speaker and are in no way responsible for the situation. The cowardly Spathi live at the single planet orbiting Epsilon Gris. They do not actually live on their world, rather they reside on its airless moon. The reason? A xenomorphic species which craves the sweet-flavored flesh of the Spathi has been transported to the surface of their planet and makes every attempt to devour the poor Spathi. I'm certain that the Spathi would be forever in your debt if you were to eliminate these creatures from their planet. What? You fear the alien creatures will find you a treat also? Fear not. Our data reveals the beasts are not interested in your species. Should you wish to consult with the Spathi ruling council, you will need to know the secret Spathi cipher, a password, which is Huffy, Muffy, Guffy.
Yeah. Spathi gave that to just about everybody.
Like you Earthlings, when the war with the Urquan was lost, the Syreen chose to be slave-shielded. Their new world is at Beetlejuice. The Syreen starbase is crewed by the starship commanders and crew who were decommissioned at the end of the war. Though the Syreen hate the Urquan with a vengeance, they are unlikely to offer you assistance unless you reveal to them the truth behind the tragedy of their original homeworld, Syra, which was destroyed by the birth of a Mycon deep child a century ago.
See, we've had clues about that on how the Mycon deep children work. I was actually going to go talk to the Mycon. Kitty! I was going to go talk to the Mycon to get more information about that. I'm still going to do it. But, we basically got the idea from them that everything that we heard from them about the destruction of their homeworld was related to that. So basically we know what we have to do now. But I'm going to keep talking to him.
When the Urquan entered Gamma Serpentis, the home star of the Yehat, Their queen made a sudden change of allegiance and allied with the Urquan hierarchy. They became Urquan combat thralls. This act was viewed by most Yehot starship officers as ultimately dishonorable, the desperate act of a corrupt regent to maintain her throne. The Yehot shame was greatly magnified by the Shofixti show of courage when they destroyed their own star system to slow down the Urquan Armada. Captain, you have heard all that we have to say about aliens indigenous to this region. Should we learn more in the near future, we shall be certain to sell it to you.